I'm so happy to see all these smiling faces today. It's great to see you all. So I'm going to talk about the path to higher vibrations. You know, 1,000 years ago, a wise person said to her or his child, I didn't know if it was a man or a woman who said that, but he said, look around. All these people are human beings. Human beings. Why did that person say that? That person said that just so that to remind us that there are two parts to each one of us. The human part, Charles Fillmore called it the flesh, and the spirit part, the soul part. We all know that we are spirits in human form. So we all agree with that. So that's great. So we are human beings. So we also, at one time or other, made some hikes in the forest, through the mountains, through the cities, and we encountered various obstacles on some of the path. I remember our president hiking one time, and he sprained an ankle, and he had to be air flown out of the Kananaskis. You know.
Actually broke the ankle, both of my ankles, not just sprained it. So.
Oh, broke the ankle. So you see, obstacles on the path are there whether we like it or not. Sometimes it's dead branches. Sometimes it's slippery slopes. But there's also nice paths, you know, among trees with colorful leaves and all that. So the path to higher consciousness is very similar to the path of nature. There we are. So when we go hiking, wherever we go, there's always a map that's available to show us the paths that are slippery, the paths that are good, the paths that are rough. So to talk about the path to higher consciousness, I created this map. I'll just go through it very quickly so that it's easy to understand. So you have the gray zone. You see, the gray zone is like that path in the forest that is slippery, that has obstacles on it, and all that. The yellow zone is the path that is beautiful and peaceful, where you walk around amidst trees of beautiful leaves and flowers and all that. And then at the very top, there we go, at the very top, I love these stories. There is a violet zone. The violet zone represents the presence of God in all things. So we all walk on that path. The gray zone is the one that I call, to be short, ego. We wouldn't be on this planet without ego. So ego is not a bad thing. It is a good thing, but it does have a rough path to it. A very rough path to it. And on the right side, right here, if you can see these numbers, the numbers just represents a difference in the vibration, if you like, from lower to higher vibration. So we're walking on this path to higher vibration. And what we want is to get to this guy here. See love? We're all heading towards that. Like Bob mentioned this morning, the love vibration is something that we're heading for. But you know, we can't be there all the time. That's the thing. That's why the ego protrudes right in there. And we think it gets in the way. But really, it's providing a balance of sorts. So, if I'm in here, in the yellow zone, that's the soul in me, the creative part of me that thinks about all the beauty everywhere, which we heard in the song this morning. It's the part of me that is creative. But you can notice that the ego cuts right through our spiritual self, and it says, whoa, whoa, boy and girl, don't forget me. I'm the boss here. I'm the guy who runs the show, whether you like it or not, but that's not true. Ego doesn't run the show. But it reminds us that, okay, we need to be spiritual and we need to be on earth. You're on earth there. And the earth is governed by the laws of duality, two sides to the coin. And we have to live with both. But that's a learning curve. That's a learning curve that we all go through. So, in the triangle, where ego is, that's where we find obstacles in our way. The branches we trip over, the muddy slopes, trying to stay on the path. So these obstacles show up as fear, anger, grief, apathy, guilt, shame, or more. Did you know that guilt is a behavior that pulls us back into the lower vibrations, whether we like it or not? Because guilt says, I did this. This is my fault. Oh, but I can't admit to that. You know what? I'm going to blame somebody for what I did. I'm going to blame circumstances for what I did. That's what guilt does. And it brings us to the low energy of 30 right here. Holy smoke. No wonder then we are up and down, whether we like it or not, but it does happen. The thing that helps us is the awareness of that. When you're aware that this is happening, whether you like it or not, you can say, whoa, whoa, Mr. Ego, I'm not going to go there. And you bring yourself back to the energy of courage, you see. But all these energies don't necessarily work going from one to the other, to the other, to the other. They actually work together. When we look at courage has a direct link to willingness. And willingness brings us to acceptance. So those energies are very, very high energies. I started not too long ago practicing saying to myself, I have the willingness to accept that I can do this. I have the willingness to accept that I can inspire people. I have the willingness to accept that I can do the dishes every day. I have the willingness to accept that I can clean the washroom every day. Not every day, but every week. Every week, quite a bit of work. So that brings the energy of willingness at 350, the energy of acceptance at 350, no willingness is at 310, 350, and I have the willingness to accept that I can. The I can part is the courage in us. It's the empowering part of us. I can do this. I can have as many friends as I want. I can tell ego where to go. Yeah. So when you combine these three energies, what a powerful place to be. We can all do it. And it works. I can assure you that it works because I've been practicing just to feel the impact of it. You know, we have to feel it, right? So the combining of these energies is what makes the difference. This is the path to higher vibrations. And we eventually get to the level of love. Well, I'm going to turn 80 soon, and I'm just beginning to understand the vibration of love. Just beginning, you know. Mr. Ego, you can see Mr. Ego right there in the point cutting into the domain of love and unconditional love. The ego reminds you about the human part of love, the physical part of love. That's not love. That's a fringe benefit of life in the human body. It's not a bad thing. So I asked myself, okay, what is love? Love, I believe, is probably a behavior, maybe, that I can express myself through. Love is a power that we have within to give to others, to give to ourselves. Give to ourselves the understanding that we deserve. Give to our children, give to our spouses, give to our friends. I appreciate who you are. I appreciate what you do. That's the energy of love. That's a high vibration. The highest vibration is enlightenment. Well, I don't know if we're going to get there in this life. There's a lot of work to do to get there, and that's another story altogether. The vibrations to reach enlightenment. I'm not going to talk about it today because it's far more complicated. Well, maybe not complicated, but there's a lot to say about how to get there. And it's not the important thing. The important thing is that we get to the vibration of love, which we can all do, which we all do automatically. Cutting edge ideas. You hear the word? Cutting edge ideas. We all have those, without exception. We all have these ideas. And they come when we're in the yellow zone and then just going to the energy of love. James Dillard Freeman was a Unity minister. It's that vibration of love that he created the prayer for protection. For soldiers, when war was raging across Europe, and there they are in the trenches, not knowing if they're going to live another hour or not. Can you imagine the anxiety of that? Well, anxiety never goes away. It's with us all the time. I feel anxieties from time to time. When things happen and you don't know how you're going to deal with it and you don't know how it's going to turn out. So the prayer for protection is an expression of the presence of God within us, within all around us. The love of God, the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. Wherever I am, God is. Wow. I can tell you, if I have a rough day and troubles during the day, I used to work on construction, you know, managing rough and tough guys all day long. And sometimes it wasn't a picnic, I can tell you that. And you go to bed with some anxieties. You know that there are problems to resolve. And if I said that prayer, the calm, the real calm came over me, and I was able to close my eyes and go to sleep. The presence of God was within me. I could feel it. That's what that prayer does, you see. That's a cutting-edge idea that James Dillard Freeman had in his time. We all have different cutting-edge ideas. We need to be aware of that. We need to know to express them. Write them down. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Every second of our life that we spend in the yellow zone. Every second of our life that we spend in that creative energy counterbalances the entire negativity that takes place on the planet. This is how we, as spiritual beings, make a difference in life. Just a few little crowd that's here, we counterbalance thousands and thousands of negative energy that takes place on the planet. So I never look at the news, very rarely. I don't worry about what's going on in the world, because I know that there are enough spiritual beings that counterbalance that energy. And if that wasn't true, another atomic bomb or major destruction would have taken place everywhere. And it's not happening. It's just happening in little pieces, little portions of the world. So let's not worry about the negative side of life on earth. Let's not worry about all the dark things that are going on, because they are being counterbalanced by our presence, by our own awareness of who we are and what we think about. That's an important thing to know. So a good way to start your day is, like I said earlier, if you say to yourself, I have the willingness to accept that I can. Holy moly, that is big. That is empowering. I have the willingness to accept that I can. Talk in front of people without falling off. Without going too far astray. I have the willingness to accept that I can bring an inspiration and a message to everyone that makes a difference in their lives. If we start doing that, it's not a big prayer, it's not a complicated prayer, is it? It's easy to remember. I have the willingness to accept that I can. You go to bed with that thought, you'll have no problem falling asleep. No need for sleeping pills or melatonin or any such things. It encompasses all the qualities that we have within, the qualities of forgiveness. It actually brings us to the capacity to love. I'm so glad that I discovered all this, because the time has come, you know what I mean? I need to be, that's my intention, by the way, to live in a vibration of love. And when I set that intention, I thought, wow, that's a tall project. But it really isn't. It's just a thing to do. This is how we move to a higher vibration, knowing that Mr. Ego's there and saying, whoa, 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 I'm here. You gotta remember that you're a human. You gotta remember that love is not what you think it is. Oh, I don't listen to ego too much anymore. It is there. It is delivering that message that's trying to put us off. But if I stay on the path to high vibration, then I can live in the low vibration. And when we reach unconditional love, wow, that's the thing we want to do. And I hope to reach that in this lifetime. Working on it takes a lot of work. Because unconditional love is the presence of God in you. What happens at unconditional love, ego says, shit, I'm no longer useful. I'm no longer useful. And it disappears. It dissipates. You don't destroy ego. Ego goes away by itself. It's not needed in your life anymore. Wow. So that's the goal. That's the ultimate path that I want to reach in this life, unconditional love. And then enlightenment, well, maybe I have a few more lifetimes to do before I go there. And I'm not in a hurry to be there, because life on earth is good. You just need to understand what the obstacles are. Now comes the, there's another thing. Some people think that that their past is pushing them to become a better person. The past is pushing them to become a better person. Well, that's not true. You don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you, it's not true. What's happening is destiny is pulling us to become a better person. We're not being pushed into that role, we are being pulled. And being here this Sunday is the proof that our destiny is saying, hey, I'm pulling you. And just by being here at Unity of Calgary, a Sunday experience, you experience what you need to experience to be a better person. Come in! I could have been spirit knocking at the door. Now, there are, Unity teachings is great. And I've written down a few quotes. And this is the part when I talk that I don't like to do because reading to me is, I don't know, I want to talk. I want to shoot the breeze. And when I read, I feel that I'm not doing that. But I'm going to read it anyway. So, this quote says, "The energy of love is complete within itself. It is thus free of need, free of considerations, free of limitations, and free of seeking gain." Can you imagine being free of all that? That's a powerful energy, isn't it? That quote comes from my dear friend, David R. Hawkins, in his book, Spirituality, Reality, and Modern Man. And then, Charles Fillmore. Well, when you start going online to truthunity.net and through the books, you discover tons of quotes. By Charles Fillmore. This reminds me when I was working in construction, and there was a board meeting going on. And that's what we were doing. I was the superintendent, and we had to do some stuff, and we were drilling, vibrating, and the owner of the mall came down and said, "You gotta stop that friggin' noise, you're disturbing our meeting." And I said, whoa! And the rest that day was so rude and impolite, but she was right. So I had to stop the so that there could be peace among the people, meeting. Anyway, Charles Fillmore, back to Charles, I love Charles. He says, to develop the love center, begin by affirming. Now, affirmations are the healing process of the soul, of all human beings. This is how Myrtle healed herself from tuberculosis. How do you say that? Tuberculosis. Yeah, that's the one. You heard that? My French accent gets in the way sometimes. And affirmations, when I look at this, is associated to courage, you see. So at the level of 200, the level of 200 is empowering. We self-empower through affirmations. So it's important that we affirm ourselves, that we read affirmations given to us by the people who have done them, by the people who have experienced them. So Charles says, from this time forth and forevermore, I shall know no man after the flesh. I shall not see man or woman as body and mortal thought. I shall always behold them with the eye of love. Oh, which sees only perfection. I ask daily that love be made alive in me, and it makes up its abode at the magnetic center in my body, the cardiac plexus, while I declare silently, I am the abode of love. I am filled and thrilled with the powerful and active forces that love uses in doing its work. I am powerful and active to do only good, and I see only goodness and purity everywhere. So Charles was a visionary. I read some of the stuff that he wrote in the early 1900s. Like this morning, it was said over 100 years old. Well, he was way ahead of his time, but nevertheless, he left such a legacy in the unity movement. So it's important that if we can access this material for ourselves, it's healing, whichever way you look at it. Then he says, many people say that they cannot see love in others who are not manifesting it clearly. When I read that, I was thinking of those soldiers in the trenches. They couldn't see love in their enemies that were about to shoot them. You know, this is a very true, that we don't see love in others who are not ready to manifest it clearly. That they themselves do not feel loving and therefore cannot exercise love. That's how I felt for the longest time. You know, I was wanting to love, but expressing it in a meaningful way is something that we need to work on. But this development of my own love will make me see it, just as the eye sees light. It is difficult to feel love with a dormant love organ. Do you ever think of love as an organ? It's a spiritual organ. But exceedingly easy when that love begins to exercise its true inherent potentialities. What a language, eh? Hawkins said, the vibrations of love shall shine through because they are there, within us, just waiting to manifest. It is like when the clouds go away, the sun shines through. Isn't that true? So lovingness is the automatic condition when the obstacles to it are removed. And the obstacles is what the ego presents in that gray triangle up here. That's all it does. It brings obstacles to the love vibration. And when we're aware of that, we say, whoa, whoa, don't want that. Go back where you came from. We're back into the yellow zone and towards experiencing love in our life. Lovingness becomes a way of being. Let us be love. And that's what unity teaches. That's what the expressions that we have adopted about being in the love vibration means. Let us be love. It's a way of being. Love is not an emotion or a thing. You cannot lose love. Somebody cannot run off with love because it's within you. It's your power. I know I have another quote here somewhere, which I would like to read to you. I think I told you that already. Every Sunday when you come here, your destiny pulls you and says, enjoy the spiritual nourishment that is provided here. It is your destiny to discover the spiritual being that you are. And this will result in you becoming a better person. It's your destiny to be a better person. It's simple. You can't go off track. That's how it works. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! It was interesting. I went to a Seventh-day Adventist service a couple of years ago with my grandson. There was about 200 people there, and mostly black. But they were with the preacher, and the preacher was as a friend of mine. Very dynamic guy. He was running back and forth and jumping and all that. And people would yell, "Hallelujah!" You know, it was such an energy. Alex and I looked at each other and said, "Whoa, this is fun." So the Hallelujah, bless the Lord of my soul and all that is within me, and bless his holy nature.